Hello beautifuls, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be going onto Pinterest, picking a skirt I really like, and I'm going to make it with the materials that I have in my studio. Won't you join me? So I've created a challenge for myself to go onto Pinterest and find something that I like and just make it with what I have in my studio. So I really love this skirt. So I have this fabric. I'm just going to use what materials I have in my studio. So let's do it. Alright, so now it's time to cut along my pattern. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut so that it's sort of arched to create that high-low effect of the skirt that's in the photo. Alright, now that I've cut out the front of my skirt, what I'm going to do is get my pattern and cut out the notches for the dart. If you're using a skirt that you just folded in half and cut, you may not have to worry about the darts, but if you want the darts, you could get a pattern from like Joann's and just use the dart part for the waist. That will really help. Use your awl and make sure you put the hole at the end of your dart. And I usually I was taught to make sure to sew 1/2 inch past the hole for that really nice dart. So now I've got my fabric. I'm going to go ahead and cut the back of my skirt. I'm going to keep my front skirt handy so that I can make sure to match up the side seams so it's the same length, since our pattern, as you can see, it's not the same length, but that's okay. So I'm just turning it over here for so I can get the best use out of this fabric. I think I'm actually not going to use this fabric because it's not the right length. So let's try this again. Alright, here we go. We are going to cut the back of our skirt, but they'll teach you in fashion school if you're using a patterned fabric to make sure that the pattern is aligned. This is a rather high-end sort of way to cut your fabric, is to make sure that all the lines match up. Alright, I'm ready to sew my dart, and like I said before, I'm gonna sew 1/2 inch past the dart hole. Okay, now that our skirt has darts, we are going to use the scrap fabric to make the ruched skirt at the bottom. So, let's see what I got to play with. Don't really have a lot of this fabric, but I think there might actually be just enough. Let's stabilize the camera, sorry about that. Just enough to make this work. Alright, so I found this piece, which I think is just the right piece. I just need to cut off some excess stuff that we'll probably end up using later. So I'm ready to clean up this piece of fabric. Just gonna make sure that it's all nicely cut on the edges, and then I'm gonna cut it in half, and then I'm gonna ruche it together. Now it's time to match up our skirt to the bottom of our main skirt. And then I'm gonna sew them together. So some of the sides of the main skirt are already sewn together, but I left the bottom unsewn together so that I could sew it all together in one shot with the bottom skirt already attached. Well, here we have it. We got the base of our skirt made. She looks fabulous. Now to take the rest of our scrap fabric and try to make those fancy drapes that are in the front of the skirt in the picture. So I should have some perfect pieces that should drape very nicely. Well, let's go play with the dress form. So I sewed my two pieces of drape together. I'm going to put this aside for a second, and I'm going to work on the lining. That's right, the lining. Make the lining pretty much the same way you make the main skirt. Alright, so I added this cool piece to match the picture, and I'm going to take it off and sew the lining inside. I'm gonna flip the lining right side in so that the right side of the skirt and the right side of the lining face each other, and I'm gonna sew the waistline. Well, there she is. She's all done. Voila! We got our drapes hand sewn on so they'll stay in place. I am ready to try her on. Guinea pig break! Guinea pig break! Fluffy. Well, thanks for hanging out, sewing with me. I hope you have a great day. Come back next Wednesday for another video. Thanks!